You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the Black and Gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation, and welcome to The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here on a jam-packed Tuesday where there is plenty going on both around, around the National Football League and in Steelers land, Matt, as we're kind of right on the precipice, the edge of the final seconds, final minutes of the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Could something happen last minute across the timeline? If it does, obviously, we will react. We'll react to everything that has transpired across the NFL today. But just as we kind of wait for the final T's to be crossed, I's to be dotted, Matt, I figure we start where we typically would, which is with a little Tomlin Tuesday. You know, just a few hours ago, the head coach giving his weekly press conference. With that, Matt, I think always some pertinent injury updates that we're always waiting to hear from. And then some of the things, particularly from my standpoint, you knew he was going to be asked and was going to talk about what they did schematically against the Colts, particularly on defense, particularly at the safety position, and he did that as well, too.
Cool.
The Steelers have also made some practice squad moves before we even approach the trade deadline and everything here. So, I don't know, Matt.
What's going on, yeah.
Where do you want to start? You want to start with, I feel like we spent a lot of time Monday highlighting the defense, some of those changes, what they were able to do there. So should we kind of pick back up there with what Mike Tomlin talked about
cool with me.
today? Mike Tomlin said that Jalen Ramsey will continue to work exclusively at safety this week.
Okay.
He said he was really impressed by Brandon Echols, thought he's stepped up and has kind of handled everything that they've asked him to do, and that they're obviously more confident in their depth at corner than they are, or just that they have more depth at corner than they do at safety. But that was one of those kind of big I don't even want to say headline grabbing because that makes it sound clickbaitish in a way, but that's one of the things that stood out to me about what Mike Tomlin said today. He didn't say, we'll approach the week, we'll see how it plays out, we'll wait for health status. He said Jalen Ramsey will continue to work exclusively at safety this week.
So Tom Offerman and I do the pre-game show.
You do a good job, by the way.
Why, thank you. So that comes on 4 hours before kickoff, and we go for 2 hours. So this week it'll be late. Usually it's at 9. And at that point, we were just started the show. It was like 9 a.m. and we're sitting in here, and we were talking about the whole safety situation. It's like, man, they got a lot of balls in the air at that point. And I guess Missy was listening, and she texted me, and she's like, go check out this blurb from Coach Tomlin and Labs. That how they sit down before.
They do the sit down,
They do the sit down.
And that's the best stuff you get from Mike Tomlin every week.
So good, right. I mean, they must have such a good relationship. Right.
I'm sure they do. And,
right.
And Labs just, hey, to his credit, he knows how to ask the right questions to get the right answers.
That's a good point.
He knows how to frame it to get the good stuff from Mike Tomlin as well.
So in that, it was on Steelers.com, but it said, Tomlin had said, well, he used the same word then, exclusively at safety. And I was I was shocked that I was
definitive.
Reading that. Yeah, because usually coaches aren't that definitive. And then to say it again today, he's a safety, folks. I mean, that doesn't mean forever and ever, but for now, he's a safety. And I had tweeted this stuff, and I don't know exactly if it's 1,000% accurate, but over 80% of his snaps, he aligned at safety.
Yes, he did a couple down in the slot and things like that.
Right, but safeties do that now too, and so that's what I mean. Like,
correct.
What exactly is a safety location versus just an overall defensive back? Blah blah blah. But the most he had ever done safety stuff in his career at any game in the NFL was like 30%. So, but he came to Florida State as a safety.
Yes.
I don't know what their plan was when they recruited him, but I'm
sure
they saw
you'll
ability.
Probably remember this better than I will, but I'm pretty sure when he came out of high school, he was the number 1 rated corner in his class and the number 1 rated safety.
I would be
in his
so
class.
not shocked by that.
Yeah,
that totally adds up. But I thought, okay, when I read that pregame, thinking that's smart. He's the most free of them all. He's definitely the most knowledgeable, experienced, even though that's not really his position, or has it ever been. but they have so much up in the air right now. Peppers is ill. Clark isn't going to play, and what's his face? The new guy, Duggar.
Duggar just got
super
here
new, right?
A couple days ago.
So you need somebody to stabilize things in a Minka-like manner, and boy, did he ever! I think it was a huge success story. And frankly, I don't know how much they trust Thornhill anymore. He really seemed to have fallen out of favor. So why not roll that back with Duggar and Ramsey? And I'm not sure Pepper's story is totally written either. I assume he'll be over his illness by now, of course.
That's the kind of real monkey wrench in what would his role have been if he was healthy on Sunday.
Right.
I think it would have been something.
Oh, I think it's something.
I'm not saying he would have played as many snaps as Duggar and Ramsey, obviously, but he would have contributed in some capacity.
Somewhere in the mix, right? And I don't know Clark's story is totally written either. But of the four, Ramsey, Duggar, Peppers, Clark's my least favorite because he moves the slowest of the group. So maybe you found something there. Duggar and Ramsey weren't your safeties up until 4 days ago or whatever,
right?
And maybe they will be the rest of the way. Now, Tomlin, I guess, mentioned this, you just referring to what you said there. Well, we like our corner depth. But if Ramsey's not a corner, your corner depth all of a sudden is just Slay, Porter, Eccles.
Especially with Corey Trice's status still up in the air.
I'm excited.
Pierre, we saw Pierre out there.
Right. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
If that's your fourth guy. But all of a sudden, I don't love the corner depth as much. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So who knows?
And they did make some practice squad moves in that regard since we've last spoken here yesterday. There were some more here, but specifically with the cornerbacks, they released Beanie Bishop off the practice squad. Okay. They added Daquan Hardy to the practice squad, defensive back, Penn State guy, Penn Hills kid, so grew up here locally. So
not earth-shattering, but right.
Not earth-shattering, but maybe, and you and I, we talked about this a lot when the initial 53-man roster came out. Beanie Bishop is a nickel. He's a slot.
Yeah, that's his problem.
He doesn't have the versatility of these other guys. Maybe they just value, especially when you're a little short in that department, maybe you want somebody who you feel can wear multiple hats on game day. Maybe that's the reasoning behind this. Maybe they just wanted to get a look at somebody else. Who knows? Yeah. But was some tweaking to the defensive backs on the practice squad as well, too.
So along these lines, just about game day, now that you mentioned it, Pierre's going to be active because of special teams qualifications. But it's kind of an underreported story. There's two things, actually, I want to bring up. It was kind of an underreported story that they activated Lou Nichols and Sermon.
Yeah, 5 active running backs on game day.
5 active running backs, really for special teams reasons, But
that's a lot for back in the wishbone days, Matt.
Right.
Let alone in 2025.
And those guys didn't play on offense, and then they had no intentions, I assume, of playing them. But they had 5 active game day running backs, which is weird. But it also told me we're kind of looking for our best core special teamers too. We know Killebrew's out of the mix,
and when you lose Killebrew, that's
the biggest dog you got.
Totally.
But one thing I wanted to mention yesterday that we didn't, that I just wanted people don't think about these things, but probably outside the person that kicks the football, the punter in Boz, the most important guy in all special teams is probably the personal
protector.
Yeah.
Bigger, more so than the long snapper? Maybe they're kind of similar.
Similar. Just they're kind of the quarterback, and they got all the protections. They got to be
on the same page. Yeah,
it's always like your best special team or your core guy. The dude that's on the team just. He's kind of
like your green dot guy of your your special teams.
Really well said. Yeah. Exactly. That's a really important, trusted position. And I always tell people too, when you're not sure who's going to make the team in the preseason, watch who's on the first punt team. That says a lot, because it means that, I trust you.
It's football dork stuff, but you're absolutely right.
But that's where I'm going with this. Is Killebrew's been the personal protector since he's been here, and he's great at it, and everyone's thrilled with it. Well, he's not in the mix. So what they did is they took Skoranek, who's a really good gunner, and moved him to personal protector. Good for you. You got promoted. He's next in line.
Sure.
But then you were short a
gunner.
But then
you're short a gunner.
Absolutely. Right. And I think Eccles did it. He did.
You are correct.
Because we saw him on the muff. But some key components of special teams right now are in flux. And I'm sure the same's true on kickoff and kickoff return, too. Absolutely. I didn't plan on talking about all that, but I wanted to throw that. Good for Skoranek. I wanted to mention that yesterday.
Absolutely. I am glad you mentioned that. And you like that you're confident in Eccles to slide him into that role. But then once again, you're asking him to play more snaps.
Right.
When you're already a little thin at corner depth.
And it's all, I mean, people don't think about this either, but like you run down as a gunner
you're flying
against double teams, getting beat up. Sometimes they drive you into the seats almost. And then you got to cover Randy Moss the next play. Like the defensive play.
You just ran 60 yards fighting off two guys.
Right.
And then here comes Alec Pierce.
You're hoping it's a commercial break, but if it isn't, it's like, I got to guard this dude. Right. McConkey this week or whatever. So that's not easy. I mean, no one's starting corners necessarily doing that. And I brought that up just because Beanie, maybe they're bringing in the new guy, the Penn Hills dude or whatever, just because he has more special teams acumen.
That's a great point, too.
He might be a bigger body or more experience on teams. And it's weird to me that they brought up the 2 running backs.
Yeah. It's something to keep an eye on for sure.
It matters.
But there's always rhyme to the reason. Sometimes you just got to read through the tea leaves a little bit to figure it out. Last thing that we obviously have to discuss as it relates to the Mike Tomlin press conference today is, of course, those weekly injury updates.
Yeah.
Scotty Miller and Cole Holcomb are out to start the week, but could work their way back.
Okay.
Scotty Miller did not practice last week with that finger injury. Cole Holcomb obviously dealing with an illness that kept him out on Sunday. It is that
surprising he's still looming there. Usually that gets cleared pretty quick.
It must be. Hey, there must be something going around.
There could be something going around.
I always that's one of my favorite Yinzerisms.
Oh, you and TV love that.
Me and video producer Tyler V always joke about that from November through March. Anytime you have like a cough or a sore throat in Pittsburgh, and you tell somebody, they go, "Oh yeah, something's going around." Be careful. Take your airborne. Take your vitamins.
You guys were joking about that.
Stay hydrated. There's something going around.
A month or so ago.
Yep.
And I never knew that was a Pittsburgh thing until you guys said it. I'm like,
to be fair, maybe they say it other places. I'm sure they say it other places too.
They say it in Portland and Austin and I bet
Southern California.
I bet not. Well, no one gets sick there, but yeah.
Every time, like there's something going on at my daughter's daycare, I look at my wife and I go, hey, there's something going around. Little hand, foot, and mouth going around. Scotty Miller and Cole Holcomb out to start the week.
Like diseases take time off and don't go around other times,
You're correct. They take their summer siesta.
Right, we're out. Yeah.
They go to Europe. They vacation in southern France during the summer.
All that bacterium and whatnot.
Isaac Seumalo with the pec and Jabril Peppers are working towards their return.
Peppers was an illness too, right?
Peppers was an illness too, and dealing with that quad.
Okay.
I
thought there was
that
something
popped
else.
up on the injury report as well too. And then Chuck Clark with the illness expected to be back in practice as well.
So it seems like when we start really digging into practice reports, Seumalo is going to be the one that's most of interest.
Most questionable and most of interest.
And there's no chance he practices Wednesday. He often doesn't when he's 1,000% healthy, so let's keep that in mind. Any mention of Slay's finger?
Did not see anything about that or hear anything about that.
But just talking to people at the game, people thought he was in a lot of pain. So I would give him credit for coming back. And I also thought Highsmith ankle was not a nothing because, he was hurting bad, came back in and was awesome in this game, but they taped it heavily. So maybe like Wednesday he'll be a veteran rest guy.
Dislocated finger was what Mike Tomlin called it after the game.
And if people play through that stuff, it's easy for us to be like, oh, it's just a dislocated
it's
finger.
Just a finger. You got 9 other ones. You'll be fine.
Right. You get stuck in face masks and whatnot. It'll be fine. But yeah.
Didn't see anything specific on his status or hear anything specific on his status today from Mike Tomlin. But that's a good call by you. That's something that, when we get the initial
keep an eye on,
when we get the initial weekly practice report tomorrow.
And I'm sure we won't know anything about Seumalo until at least
Friday.
Yeah, say Thursday.
And then I bet you on Friday he'll be listed as questionable or probable.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
And again, I hate talking injuries, but from what I understand with his pec situation, it's kind of a pain tolerance thing.
Oh, totally.
And it's very painful. It's not like sometimes you say that and people are like, oh, then he'll be fine.
Just take a shot, no problem.
Right.
Numb it up for 3 hours.
Yeah, you'll be okay.
Easy for you. Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
That's one of those injuries too. Remember a couple years ago when TJ tore his pec? Was at the start of the season against Cincinnati.
Imagine what that feels like?
I want to say.
Yeah.
And I think it was that crazy overtime season opener in Cincinnati a few years ago where Cincinnati, all they had to do was kick an extra point with like 2 seconds left on the clock to win. Minka blocked it.
Yeah.
And then the Steelers won in overtime. That game, I think that was 3 or 4 seasons ago. TJ tore his pec in that first game of that season. And I remember talking to Moats about that on the show that week because he tore his pec when he was in
Oh,
Buffalo.
did he really?
And he was like, it's the worst thing ever.
People say it's terrible.
He's like, it feels like they're taking like a cottering iron and like shoving it into your chest. Like it's just a burning,
just all the time.
pulling, burning, hot sensation.
I think it happened to Tuitt as well, sort of recently. And I always think of D lineman because it often is I'm on a block and I'm trying to make a one-arm tackle and it ends up getting wrenched back.
Totally.
And
You're right. There are some things that are like there's a difference between a broken bone and a muscle injury, and some of it is pain tolerance, but that's one of those that's like
it can't be fun.
I would rather let you punch me in the face. Than have a torn pec. I mean, without a doubt, not even close. Matt, let's take our first break here. When we come back on the other side, like I said, we mentioned one of those practice squad moves for the Steelers, but there was more moving and shaking in that department, as well as kind of a notable name at wide receiver that the Steelers added to the practice squad. We'll get into all of that. More trade deadline reaction here is kind of the final moves come across the timeline as we roll along. It's also a Tuesday, so we got to talk a little fantasy football and do some power rankings before we get out of here. Plenty going on. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here on a busy Tuesday as it is the trade deadline across the NFL. We're still waiting before we kind of shut the book just to make sure, just to close the door before we kind of get into all of the trades and breaking news and all that stuff of the day. But, Matt, one thing that we do know is that the Steelers have signed a wide receiver to their practice squad, and it's I think, familiar name if you're somebody who follows the NFL, has followed the NFL throughout the years. Wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling has been added to the practice squad. He was a teammate of Aaron Rodgers back in Green Bay. Fifth-round pick by the Packers in 2018. Most recently with the San Francisco 49ers. He appeared in 5 games for the Niners this year. 4 receptions for 40 yards when the Niners were going through that kind of crazy rash
of injuries.
Of injuries and all that. 8 seasons in the NFL, 111 games. Packers, Chiefs, Bills, Saints, and Niners. 209 receptions in his 209 receptions in his career. 3,600 yards, 20 touchdowns, and obviously the relationship with Aaron Rodgers. Matt, does MVS have anything left in the tank?
Yeah, it doesn't really move the needle for me. As you kind of just cited there, journeyman now. I mean, he's been with a lot of teams in a short amount of time. We kind of talked about last segment, the fact that he doesn't play any special teams, I don't think, probably doesn't help his cause. I mean, pull back the curtain. I mean, like in the real world of NFL football, if you're the 4th receiver, not the top 3, but 4th and certainly 5th, you better be contributing on special teams. I mean, there's some teams that get away with it where their top 4 are not special teamers, but that was the beauty of a Hayward Bay. Like, is he the best receiver in the world? No, but he was a really good special teamer, and he was a veteran in the room full of maniacs at the time. So I think that hurts Valdez-Scantling. Now, they're not hiring him or signing him to be a special teamer anyways. He's big and fast. He's 6'3"-ish. I don't know what his exact height is, but he's tall. He's long levers, and he's a downfield, outside the number, go route specialist. Long strider, big body. Has a lot of drops, has a lot of inconsistencies, doesn't have the best ball skills, but big and fast is nice, and it keeps you in the league a long time, as he's proven,
Anything to his prior relationship with Aaron Rodgers?
I'm sure it breaks all ties in his favor.
That breaks all ties in terms of getting him here and him being the guy that they decide to sign. But does that do anything to potentially get him on the field?
Maybe, and I don't know that that's like a massive indictment on Wilson, Miller, any of those guys, but I'm sure Aaron vouched for him. I don't know if he went to ownership. People get this screwed up too, like especially with Rodgers' career. Like, I don't think he goes to ownership with the Jets. We have to sign Randall Cobb and Allen Lazard. I mean, like, they're available. We know that you've worked with them. How'd it go? Well, I'm a fan. It doesn't mean
I think that's been a little bit of a misnomer about him throughout his career, that he goes to the GM's office and pounds the table for his guys.
Well, the other thing about it, too, is as anyone that's paid attention since he's been here, he's such a perfectionist that those guys check the boxes more than they like to drink beers together.
He wants people that speak his language.
Exactly. I'm going to do things my way. I'm an old dog, and I'm not learning new tricks.
And I've had a lot of success doing it this way.
Yeah, and I know it works. If you can get on that ship, then I know it gives you the benefit of the doubt.
It's, to me, Matt, and you see this all the time now in college football in these last, 5 or 6 years that we've had this transfer portal era.
Mm-hmm.
Head coach leaves school A to take a bigger job at school B.
Oh, yeah.
And he takes a dozen of his guys with him. Kurt Cignetti, Indiana football.
Yeah,
Everybody knows he's completely, in a year and a half, completely changed the fortunes, the culture, the expectations, the status of that program. When he came from JMU and took that job at IU, he brought like 14 players from James Madison with him to Bloomington.
Best guys that are also culture dudes, and you see it at every level.
And that's how you set the culture. And those guys speak the same language as the coach, and they know how he's going to run the practice, and they know exactly what he expects. And maybe they're not your most talented guys on the roster, but they get it, and they help everybody else get on the same page quicker.
Yeah, winter workouts and all the kind of things behind the scene, and this is how we operate in the weight room, and blah, 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 blah. And they're telling their buds when they're at parties, like, dude, don't mess with this coach. He's you gotta
don't mess with this Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, don't test him.
If he tells you he needs you at 7.5 yards, he doesn't mean 7 or 8. He means 7.5.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fine. I mean, it's a practice squad move. It's not a huge needle mover. Who knows when and if we'll see him?
Correct. We might not even. If the Steelers stay healthy at wide receiver the rest of the way, this might end up being water under the bridge.
Who knows?
Some of those other, like we mentioned, there were more practice squad moves as well, too. So the Steelers basically added 3 to the practice squad and released 3. Okay. So we mentioned Daquan Hardy. They also added MVS. They also added, familiar name, familiar face, Mark Robinson back to the practice squad.
Yeah, I forgot that he was gone, but good.
Hey, he's proven that he can fill in when you need him in the past.
Yeah, right. I mean, he was a 7th-round pick that hadn't played linebacker long when they drafted him. He was a running back background.
That's right.
Because he's a big, strong athlete. And I didn't expect him to turn into Jack Ham and Jack Lambert combined, you know what I mean? But he made a living here and got better and better on special teams, which was super important. Danny trusted him more and more as he was here. So it's good to have him in the mix.
No, it is. Certainly. We'll see what's going on with that linebacker room because it does feel like they're pretty set there.
Yeah.
Particularly with what you've seen from Queen and Wilson.
Harrison had a big role this week.
Harrison played a handful of snaps. Obviously, Cole Holcomb, hopefully he can get healthy and get back out there. But, hey, to bring a guy like Mark Robinson back in that you're familiar with, that you trust and know his skill set well, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
So I
like bringing familiar guys back, too.
Totally.
You know exactly where they're at and right.
Totally. So the 3 that they released, Beanie Bishop, as we mentioned.
And your boy Beanie could get brought back next week.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely. Linebacker KJ Henry also got released, and John Reese Plumlee getting released as well. So those are the 3.
Is he the quarterback?
He's listed as a wide receiver now, but he was quarterback in training camp.
Yeah.
He's a crazy athlete.
Yeah.
Did it all in college, was a really good baseball. I don't know if you remember this, but I think it would have been 2 years ago at training camp, would have been his first year with the Steelers. And I remember telling you and Dale and Moats and some people this story. There was a really cool feature. So he was at UCF in college. There was a really cool feature that UCF did where he played for the baseball team as well, too.
Yeah, I do. I love this story. I remember hearing the story. Yeah.
They did this 6 or 7 minute mini documentary of him. He played in the spring game at noon one year for UCF. He played in the spring game at noon and then played in a baseball game at 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So that shows him in the spring game and practicing and everything and then getting ready and he takes a golf cart over to the baseball facility and so cool. He's an athlete, Mr. Do It All. But he's listed as a wide receiver.
Dion did that at the higher level, but he got a plane, right? But yeah, still.
But that was pretty. I remember seeing that and being like, "That's pretty cool." Like you go.
That is pretty cool.
Playing
right.
your spring game and then go over and play a Division I baseball game in the same day.
And that's not a WJ either.
Oh, that's a high level. Right. I mean, Big 12 baseball is good baseball.
I assume it's good baseball in the South. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he is one of the three that was also released.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the moves that we know as of now for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
As we're kind of, again, waiting for any potential other moving and shaking. It has been a busy day across the NFL.
Big time.
And that kind of started a couple days ago, but it's been rolling along here. Adam Schefter tweeted out a few minutes ago, third most trades of any trade deadline in NFL history going back to 1990.
You know my theory on that. I just think GMs are way more apt to do it now than they did back in the day.
The Madden generation, right?
Yeah, fantasy and just having the internet and younger and the world smaller and yeah. And it used to be like I was taught as a youngster, like it's just so hard to acclimate to a new team. We're seeing that. I mean, Flacco got picked up. I mean, I know he's been around the league a long time, but he got picked up like 2 days before that and ripped the Steelers apart. I mean, like you got to simplify things and figure it out.
Got to do what you got to do.
Duggar got thrown in the mix, right.
It's a great example. And hey, good thing the Steelers got that one done a few days early and didn't wait till the trade deadline
could have gone differently
to get that one done, certainly. Let's take another break here. We'll continue to monitor any potential final moves and discuss everything else that happened across the NFL. We got a fantasy football focus. We got some power rankings. We've got plenty to get into on this Tuesday. We'll do all that and more as we roll along. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. A different kind of Tuesday here on The Drive, Matt, as it is trade deadline day and a lot of moving and shaking to get to. But one thing that we have to keep standard here on The Drive is our Tuesday power rankings.
All right.
This
is a tough week to do it. I always think about through the author's lens.
Yeah.
Like, there was some shakeup. Where do you put the Lions now? I mean, like
sure.
there's some teams at the top. The bottom ones are all
the bottom's
junk.
always kind of whatever.
They're all pretty
once
bad.
you get to like the top 20, it starts to become pretty interesting.
So I had this conversation on another podcast today. It's like there's more buyers than usual.
Absolutely. There's probably more sellers too, but more buyers.
Yeah, I mean, if like Dallas sees himself as a buyer, I mean, they're pretty far from being a good team. You know what I mean?
It's Matt, it's one thing that the NFL, I think, looked at leagues like the NBA and the NHL, and there's not much that the NFL has to learn from those leagues.
No, right. They got it pretty well figured out.
But one thing that they figured out from those two leagues is keeping more teams in the playoff hunt is good for business.
It's good for business and eyeballs on the sport.
As much as we sometimes rail, like in the NBA and the NHL, half the teams make the playoffs. Like, is that really, do you need 16 of the 32 teams in your league to make the postseason?
Right.
It might be a little much, but what it does is it keeps all those teams
25 of them relevant.
It keeps everyone relevant.
Right.
It keeps 80% of the league relevant, 85% of the league relevant down the stretch.
Yeah.
Which sells more tickets, which gets more eyeballs on the games, which makes more money for everybody, which raises the bottom line, which increases the salary cap, which all those things. The extra wild cards.
Well, there's also all that, too.
Like,
I mean, playoff money is huge. I mean, there's more playoff games, which they're always going to get.
You add an extra regular season game. You add an extra wild card spot. I think that's one of the things that the NFL was like, hey, these middle-of-the-road teams in the NBA and the NHL, they're still selling tickets at the end of the season because they got a chance to go to the playoffs. People still care. They're still putting butts in seats. There's still $50 parking and $12 beers.
Yeah.
And now that has really permeated the NFL where, again, of the 32 teams, probably 20 of them are in it until Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Dallas to me is a perfect example. Like,
Dallas is a great example.
They weren't so great last night, and their defense is terrible, but they're a buyer. They're in it. Last thing along that point, too, it's like, say it's your star point guard or goalie or whatever, but you lose a star, but they're only out a month or so. It's like, well, we can, I keep thinking about the Ravens and Bengals. You lose Burrow, you lost Lamar and others. It's like, well, if in that playoff format, I'm much more of a buyer than a seller if I were the Ravens or Bengals, if half the league goes.
It's a good business model.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It drives revenue for teams that would typically have fan bases that are checked out, down the stretch of the regular season.
You're always going to have the diehards, but the people that could take it or leave it, take it.
Hey, we're playing for a
Right.
playoff spot. I'll go to the game on Sunday.
Heck yeah, right. Or I'll at least tune in.
Exactly right. I'll watch in the TV ratings and all that. Tennessee Titans check in at number 32, Matt. I don't think there's a ton of surprise there.
No, they're really horrible.
I mean, they had everything go right against the Chargers and still lost.
In some ways, yes. They had 2 touchdowns not from the offense right off the bat. I mean, so that was massive.
Lead. Yep.
And then the offense never produced anything else. Yeah, I mean,
and they got 2 field goals the rest of the game?
I think so, yeah.
31, the New Orleans Saints.
Fair enough, but after today, I think you'd have to put the Jets below them.
I do too. And that's one of the editor's notes on this, that these power rankings, these are the NFL. We always go to NFL.com for these power rankings. And that's one of the editor's notes on here is this was released Tuesday before the trade deadline. So
he probably turned them in Monday night.
Keep that in mind. Yeah. But the Jets are number 30.
Fair enough. They can't be much higher. They stink too.
Okay. You ready for this? Who wins more games the rest of the season? The New Orleans Saints or the Jets and Titans combined? Is that a good question?
Saints.
Is that a good a Vegas? Is that a good line there?
I mean, how much did the 3 of them? So my way my brain works is how many wins did the 3 of them get combined? 5 or 6?
3 or 4.
3 or 4, yeah.
And if 3 of those are the Saints,
you're probably in good shape, right? You probably win the bet then. I'm gonna say 5 max.
Okay, I need it. TV, help me with this because you're our Tony Reale statistician. We need to track the rest of the year who wins more games, the Saints or the Jets and the Titans combined. That's something we got to keep an eye on.
Man, but even the rest of the AFC South. They're a big dog against all. You could used to be well, at least they had Carolina.
At least they had Carolina, Atlanta.
Carolina would crush them, right?
Yeah, I think even Atlanta still, yeah.
Right.
29, the Miami Dolphins. Hey, they had a nice week 8 in Atlanta, but they've shipped out Jalen Phillips.
Yeah.
They're
noticeably better than those other ones, though.
I agree. They're a clear-cut favorite against any of those teams.
Right. I might have Miami over Cleveland, and there's a couple other low teams.
Well, it's funny you say that because the Browns check in at number 28.
Okay. I would have Miami ahead of them still.
Off the bye week, how long till we see Shedeur Sanders?
Ooh, I wonder if that's going to be a story tomorrow. I think it should be.
I think so.
I mean,
you've got to know what you got.
I never wanted the Steelers to be after Sanders, but I recognize his talent. I could see him being a starter. I'm not projecting him as a starter, but I could see him being one of the 32 starters in the league. I know that Gabriel isn't now. And I knew him when he drafted him, but,
Yes, and even if Shedeur, you evaluate him and you think, okay, he's not our guy of the future, maybe you think he can be our number 2 of the future.
Right. Maybe bring something back to the Jets or whatever.
Great point as well, too. He puts enough on tape that there's some interest in him around the league, and then Cleveland ends up having 2 high draft picks in the first round, or their draft pick and the Jags draft pick, and they use one of those to take a quarterback or something. I certainly think there's possibility there.
I was just looking this up to make sure I didn't screw it up, but this is noteworthy, and it's bad news whenever we do our around the campus situation too. Is now after this deadline, there's 4 teams with multiple first-round picks.
Yes, there is.
There's the Jets who
need
have
a quarterback.
Jets need a quarterback, and they have their pick, which is going to be really, really high, and the Colts. Okay. The Browns, we already knew. They have their pick, which is going to be really high, not really, really high probably, and the Jags. The Rams, they have theirs in Atlanta, also need a quarterback. Even if they pick 32, they probably need a quarterback. And now Dallas, which I don't think will need a quarterback, but they have Dallas and Green Bay too.
Yeah, that's something we're going to spend a lot of time on as soon as the season ends.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll even get to a little bit in our around campus conversation tomorrow to tease that a little bit with you, Matt, too. Actually,
Dallas doesn't now. Because I tweeted that before the Quinn and Williams trade. They traded their pick, not the Packers, which, by the way, is nice work by the Jets.
Nice work by the Jets.
That's the way I understand it happened. But we'll get into trades later. But nice work by the Jets. I'd much rather the Cowboys pick.
Nice work by the Jets. We'll talk about this a little bit tomorrow. You know what, Matt? It was funny. I check my Twitter every day, like you as well, too. I'm not much of a other social media apps guy. Like, I have a Facebook, I have an Instagram.
Yeah.
I check them once or twice a week type thing, nothing crazy.
I'm not even on Instagram, yeah.
I went on my Instagram and I looked at my messages, which, like, I never do. I kid you not, a dozen people on there, maybe more, that had messaged me about the around campus stuff.
Oh,
and
really?
Can you talk about this quarterback? Can you talk about how many teams are going to draft quarterbacks?
That's cool. Okay.
Thank you to everybody out there for picking up
Paying
what we're putting down,
attention,
paying attention. And tomorrow will be a big around campus segment because we're starting to get a lot of clarity on these quarterbacks, and I'm starting to think a few more of them than we thought are going to be back on campus next year.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it won't be 6 first-round quarterbacks. It'll be 3 or 4.
And we did this exercise, I think, like 2 weeks ago. Remember, you spit out every team, and I said, need a quarterback or not? We might need to do it in like 2 weeks again.
Totally.
Post-trade deadline.
Totally.
And I think that number's only growing.
I think that number's growing. And again, I think
like
the number...
Arizona might be a yes now.
I think the number
Miami might be a yes now, not maybes,
I think the number of first-round quarterbacks, too, while the need is going up,
the supply-demand thing
the supply might be going down.
Not favoring the Steelers to land their guy.
Another team that could need a first-round quarterback is the Las Vegas Raiders. They check in at 27.
I'm not convinced they're good all of a sudden, but at least this was a step
They showed
in the
some
right
sign
direction.
of life out of the bye week. Yeah. Geno Smith played his best game of the season. They had a chance for a 2-point conversion in overtime to win it. I like the aggressiveness to go for it. Brock Bowers looks as healthy as he's been.
It's amazing to me how important he is.
Incredible.
And what a good football player he is.
He might be, if we were making a list, you take the quarterbacks out of the equation, obviously, most valuable players to their team in the NFL.
Really, really high on the list.
He's going to be in the top 10.
Right.
26, the New York Giants.
Okay.
If the Raiders and
Miami's better than those.
If the Raiders and the Giants played this weekend, who are you taking?
I'd probably take the Raiders.
I think I would too.
I think I'd take the Dolphins over the Giants too.
25, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes. Watching Dallas last night, it's like, this is a really bad defense, but the Bengals is worse. They're the worst too
in the NFL.
Close. And at least Cowboys
At least Cowboys are getting some reinforcements.
Got some reinforcements. And I found it funny the Cowboys are like, well, the other defense that's the only defense that's worse than us. Can we get your middle linebacker, please?
It's like, I need a new car. Let's go to the dump to find one. Let's get where do they have the worst cars available?
That's what you're driving, and you go get the one that's on fire.
24. Speaking of on fire in a bad way, not like he's on fire NBA Jam in a good way, like dumpster fire, the Washington Commanders.
It's going downhill.
It's going downhill real quick.
So I'm proud of myself that I recognize that they're not the contender.
You called this.
But I feel bad for them, too, because it's an avalanche of terrible things lately. And it's just injury upon. The things I counted on to be good are not now either.
I do give them a little grain of salt in that Jaden Daniels has dealt with a ton of injuries this year.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They've had key injuries all over that offense.
Yeah. I thought the offense I thought they'd be similar to like Dallas or Cincinnati with great offense, Daniels taking a huge step.
I don't think you and I thought that like they would be the 8th or 9th seed in the NFC. One of the first
relevant.
9 and 8, 8 and 9.
Yeah. Now it's over. I didn't think it'd be over by November.
I didn't think that the first week in November their season would be done.
And it is.
It absolutely is. 23, the Dallas Cowboys.
They must not think it is. And I guess it's not 100% done. Quinn Williams is
They're not going to win that division, and
no, they're not going to playoffs either. But at least Quinn Williams is not they're not rentals.
No doubt.
Okay, I mean, you had a surplus of picks, so they needed D lineman. He's a good player. We'll talk about trades later, but
still right in the prime of his career.
Yeah. So I mean, that helps more than just this year.
22, the Arizona Cardinals.
Coincidentally, they just played each other, but
I guess so. They have to be ranked higher, but
they're better than Dallas, I guess.
They had lost 5 straight. They finally get back in the win column.
The coach said Kyler's taking over when he's healthy, which to me is just ownership saying, "Hey, coach, Kyler's taking over when he's healthy," because I just wrote him a $100 million check or whatever. But they're way better with Brissett.
Clearly.
I mean, you think Marvin and McBride want Kyler compared to Brissett?
No.
It's not even close.
Not even close. 21, third straight loss after showing some life. It's the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I don't think you can be happy with where they're at. Penix to me is hard to trust, but they're not like in the quarterback market. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's another year of him. But, man, the defense was starting to show some things. Isn't really
Drake London and Bijan Robinson are outstanding.
phenomenal.
But hasn't meant much to him.
Yeah, and this past week they actually took Bijan away. It wasn't enough. They're always kind of this organization.
Into the top 20, Matt, where I think it starts to get interesting. Because I think at this point you can legitimately say all these teams are still in it.
Yeah.
Maybe the Houston Texans, but we'll get to them in a minute.
All the teams we mentioned are not.
I think so. I know the Cowboys think they are, and they're operating like they are, but at 3-5-1, and they're going to need a wild card berth.
Right.
I don't see it.
I mean, trust me, I've done this long enough that you never write, and you don't chisel this stuff in stone.
No doubt.
Some of these teams could win 6 games in the second half of the season. Atlanta, Dallas, whatever.
If Dallas wins 6 of their next 7, all of a sudden they're
They're in it. But, the wise man's going to say, I think Atlanta and Dallas are out of it, and Washington.
Number 20, back to 500. An impressive win in Detroit as 9.5-point underdogs. It's the Minnesota Vikings.
They dominated both lines of scrimmage.
They really did.
Yeah.
They looked more like the Vikings team that we've gotten accustomed to.
It looked like the nest that we talked about. And McCarthy wasn't great, but you did notice him being an athlete out there and being able to play make a little bit. They're intriguing to me.
And it's good timing for Minnesota to be feeling a renewed lease on life here with them welcoming the Baltimore Ravens to town this weekend.
Yeah, Ravens could lose that game. That's a terrible place to play.
It's a tough place to play, and Ravens could certainly lose that game. And if they do, and the Steelers win, you get back to a 3-game lead in the AFC North. Right? That'd be a really good place to be.
That's super comfortable, but I think we're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are.
Yeah.
We are. Plenty to get to on that later in the week. Number 19, 5-4. Who saw this coming? The Carolina Panthers.
I give him credit.
I do too.
Right. I mean, he must be a good coach. I mean, they don't have a lot of talent, and they're manufacturing wins, and they're tough and physical, and they run the football good, Still
a big toss-up at quarterback for them, but
they could be in the quarterback market next year.
Absolutely.
What if they went and got like Kyler or Tua or something like that? That'd be better than what they have.
Yeah. If I were them and I'm going to do something like that, I would want like a Dak Prescott.
Oh, now you're talking. Yeah. They'd be a good team with him. Right.
Be a playoff team. They might win that division. Tampa run for their money. Number 18, 3-5. Really dug themselves a hole, but the talent is obviously still there. The Houston Texans.
Yeah.
That was a tough one. Losing, they got the lead. They lose C.J. Stroud. The Broncos come back and win it.
When I thought their offense was getting a little better, it didn't. But it was against a really good defense. Their defense is top 3, though.
Their defense might be the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think they still lead the league in points per game. I'm pretty sure on defense.
I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah.
But at 3-5, with what we've talked about, what looks like you're going to have multiple teams out of the West.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have multiple teams out of the North and the Patriots and Bills.
So let me ask you a quick question. Like, I would have the Jags ahead of
the East in the Patriots and Bills, not the North.
Oh, right. I would have the Jags ahead of Houston.
Yes.
But if they played in Wichita right now, who's favored?
Houston by 1.5.
I kind of think so, too.
As long as C.J. Stroud's back.
Right.
17, the Chicago Bears.
They keep winning.
Hey, I tell you what, they certainly do. 5-3.
Yeah.
They've won 5 of their last 6.
Their defense is pretty terrible, too.
Their defense is not great, but, man, I tell you what, like, they've got the good running back tandem. Caleb Williams is looking better. Colston Loveland has been a big boost.
So the young guys are stepping up.
Big boost for them. And at 5-3, they're in it.
They're highly relevant. So this is already a successful season for them. If they lose out, it's a successful season for them.
I don't know if I agree with that second part.
Well, that's too much. That's too. I'm like, that would be pretty bad.
And they go 5-12. I don't know about that.
That'd be pretty bad, right?
So far, so good.
To say the least, yes.
As long as if they are playing meaningful games at Christmas, successful season for them.
Yeah, and Caleb is the guy.
16, Baltimore Ravens.
And by the way, the head coach was like playing with his food, by the way. I mean, he was like a cat playing with a mouse. 3 different people threw a pass in that game.
That's wild.
Like they're just doing... Since he isn't going to stop, hey, let's try this crazy stuff, right?
Hey, coaches, you got a gadget play you want to try out here? Now's the time to do it.
This is a team to do it against.
16. After 2 victories in 5 days, the Baltimore Ravens.
I'd haven't had everyone listed.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm still not sold the defense is fixed and the O-line's fixed, but Lamar goes a long way.
I might have more faith in the Vikings at this point,
Vikes are a good call.
But it's close.
Vikes are a little low on this list for my liking.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
And I don't think the Vikes all of a sudden have a quarterback, but they're healthier and their O-line's not a disaster. Right.
15, the Jacksonville Jaguars getting that overtime win in Vegas, moving to 5-3.
They think they're in it. I mean, they're the Myers trade and that kind of stuff. That's fine.
They are. I mean,
I think they're like the most mediocre team going.
they're the most 8. I know it's impossible to go 8-8 anymore, but
they
most
feel
8-8
like
team
a
right
500 type team.
Number 14, the Steelers' upcoming opponent, the L.A. Chargers.
I think the Steelers are getting them a good time with their tackle situation.
I think so,
too. They might
too.
be trending the wrong way all of a sudden after starting to trend back up.
And they're still banged up at running back, and they're banged up on that offensive line. And I think there's a real opportunity there for the Steelers.
I do too.
Who check in at number 13 on this list.
I'd have the Steelers ahead of the Chargers, and I'd have them ahead of the Ravens for sure.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that. Let's see here. Number 12, the San Francisco 49ers, 6-3, somehow.
Yeah, it's a good record.
I mean,
Steelers or Niners.
Somehow, without Mikael Williams, without Fred Warner, without Nick Bosa, I mean, they
just lost Mikael Williams.
They continue to win games, but
it's
how much longer? We've been saying that for a couple
fragile.
weeks now, but how much longer?
I don't know. They're going to be in the playoff hunt, I bet.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's not asking much at this point with the winning record they have. That division's good, though.
Absolutely is.
Yeah, everyone in Division 1,
Absolutely is. That division is loaded, and I think that makes it even more impressive that they're kind of hanging around there and continuing to play well above 500 football. Number 11, the 7-2 New England Patriots. I think this is about right for the record.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Right.
The record's great, but they're probably a little over.
I don't think they're 5
a little ahead
or
of
anything
schedule.
like that. Yeah. The defense is legit. Passing game legit. They don't run the ball very well.
Tell you what, Drake May, man, he didn't play his best, to be fair, against Atlanta, but he still finds a way. Still finds a way to get it done. Yeah. Number 10, after another head-scratching loss, down 6 spots, it's the Green Bay Packers.
You got to be a little frustrated if you're the Packers.
I think so.
And you just lost one of your best players in Kraft. I like Love a lot, but he made a couple decisions in that game that were, just pushing the envelope a little bit.
Yeah. They are so back and forth. They are so hot and cold. They either look
too many bad games.
They either look like a Super Bowl contender or they look like a top 10 draft pick contender. There's not much middle ground.
I mean, even their Steeler game, if you just look at it through a Packers lens, first half you weren't real happy with how you played, and the second half you were great.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Number 9, 7-2, rolling off a lot of wins here lately in dramatic, close fashion. It's the Denver Broncos.
I'm still not sold on the offense and passing attack and Knicks, but that's where they belong. I mean, they're easily a top 10 team.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Down to number 8 off the bye week, just staying where they were at, 6-2, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Sure.
I think that's about right for them as well.
Yeah, I think the bye comes at a good time, too. They had a lot of nicks and bruises and stuff that could heal a little bit. It's been a rough injury stuff for the first half of the year.
Yes, completely agree. In at 7, down. I mean, they were number 1 last week. They dropped to number 7 after losing at home to the Vikings. It's the Detroit Lions.
I wouldn't dig them too bad, but Goff was under pressure, didn't handle it great. They didn't run the ball very well. They lost at the line of scrimmage. But really good teams have days you're just not your best too.
Yes. Yes.
And it was not a garbage opponent.
And kind of sticking with that, at number 6, they fall a few spots, but nothing crazy. It's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. The Bills were better than the Chiefs that day, and I would have the Bills ahead of them in the power ranks right now. But a week from now, I might change my mind,
Number 5, off their bye week as well, staying pat at 6-2, and they added a lot here in the last 48 hours or so. It's the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, they should be right near the top.
They should.
We'll see how the defensive additions fit in and help and all that, but I bet they get something out of them.
back to life here and looking like themselves again, up 5 spots. It's the 6-2 Buffalo Bills with a win over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, they've come off the bye and have been on fire.
I tell you what though, they've lost some key players as well too.
They have.
They've dealt with some significant injuries and not getting crazy at the trade deadline or anything. They're an interesting one to watch the rest of the way. Down 1 spot after falling to your Pittsburgh Steelers, the Indianapolis Colts at number 3 with their 7-2 record.
Is that right for you? I wouldn't crush them from that loss.
I wouldn't crush them for that loss.
But I bet they're a dog against the Bills right now.
I bet you they're a dog against the Bills. I bet you they're a dog against the Eagles. I might have had them a couple spots lower, but
right, not far.
Nothing crazy.
Maybe
but just
5th at the lowest.
I think so. Number 2, I like this. Up 5 spots. It's the LA Rams, Matt. They're checking a lot of boxes right now.
What's not to like?
I mean,
what's not to like? I mean, I remember we were talking about Stafford's back for weeks and weeks and weeks in the summer. No one's brought that up at all. Now he's MVP situation. Defense is really good. No, they should definitely be in the top.
And number 1, 6-2, up 5 spots after a beatdown in the nation's capital of the Commanders. It's the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow. I'm surprised we're there, but I don't have a problem with it.
I don't either. Again, do I think they're the best team in the NFL? No. But are they playing like it as we sit here today? Maybe.
Yeah. You throw Shaheed in the mix now, too. I mean, what a compliment he is to Smith and Jigba. I really think Darnold and Stafford, the last 2 teams we talked about, are right today the first 2 picks for MVP. Mahomes' case went a little backwards losing the Bills, you know?
Yes.
I don't think Baker's quite there anymore.
No.
I mean, you can't give it to Dak with the team.
No, with the team being as bad as they are.
I mean, Allen's looming, but they haven't asked as much out of him.
I think you're spot on.
Yeah.
I mean,
those 2 are having great years.
I don't think a lot of us saw that coming.
No.
They are a legit contender for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Matt, there's our power rankings. The pencils are down in terms of the NFL trade deadline. So we will sink our teeth into that when we return on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Us too. It is The Drive here on Steelers Nation Radio as the afternoon moves into the evening and the trade deadline, pencils down, everybody, has passed. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have stood pat, Matt. Well, I guess, to be fair, like we mentioned, they did make the Kyle Duggar trade last week.
That's funny. Like, if you make a trade 2 days before the deadline, you didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything. Right.
You know.
Not maybe a big sexy splash like some people had hoped for.
Right.
But they did get their business done a little bit early. I think there's something to be said for that. There certainly was on Sunday.
He was useful. You get one more game out.
You needed that guy. But that appears to be it for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But, of course, a lot of moving and shaking across the league.
Are you surprised?
Ish.
I am too. I would have bet yes. Like, if I woke up this morning and said, will the trade be done today?
I would have said yes.
I would have said yes.
I wouldn't have said 100%.
No.
But I would have leaned that direction. I also wouldn't have said, you're going to get Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson or some massive name. Some massive name. But yeah, I would have leaned towards yes.
Me too.
I would have definitely leaned towards yes. And so because
especially
of
after
that,
last year, I know it's not much, but like Preston Smith and Mike Williams, like I didn't see that coming. Like,
right.
Just add something, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And
not that those deals paid off great, but yeah.
You know, again, like there's reports out that what you would really like to know if you could be the fly on the proverbial wall, right, or the proverbial fly on the wall, is what conversations were they having?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because, like, you know, there's reports out there that the Dolphins were asking for a first-round pick and more for Jalen Waddle.
That's too much.
Was it similar for, like, a Chris Olave and some of these?
Yeah.
You know, the Steelers did kick the tires on some of these and ended up passing.
Like both those guys, you can easily make the case from the Saints and Dolphins' perspective, should be part of the answer, not the problem, too.
Especially if you want that answer to come in the next calendar year.
And you're going to get a new quarterback. You have someone to throw them to.
Absolutely.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
Don't just throw them in there with,
yeah,
guys that can't
you want
play.
a nest.
Right, yeah.
Like we always talk about. You want a nest. And so maybe I'd love to know how involved the Steelers really were in the Jacoby Myers conversations, because there were reports out there that they were, and that the Chargers offered a little bit more, or the Jaguars offered a little bit more.
And if I were the Raiders, I'd have been pretty happy with that haul. It was a fourth and a sixth. That's if you had told me the Steelers gave a 4th and 6, I'm like, ooh, it's kind of a lot.
Little rich for your blood?
Little rich, right. So,
okay.
But
that's one of the things that I wanted to ask you. He is due for a contract at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's the thing, because then you got to pay him on top of that.
You either got to pay him, but there's also no guarantees that he's going to resign.
Right.
You might trade for him, and he might say, I'm hitting the open market. And
sometimes those deals get put in place. I'll give you the 4th and 6th if I can talk to the agent. We got a deal.
Totally.
A handshake agreement.
Totally.
But the Steelers usually don't do those things. They don't negotiate with people mid-season. You know what I mean?
That's part of that, too.
Right. Now, I don't know if they would in an instance like that or not. And he's not good enough to franchise. Not that he's bad, but you don't have that.
You don't want to pay
either.
that kind of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So plenty to get into here,
but
Matt.
Schefter did report, like when Schefter's first tweet said the Steelers and somebody else were interested.
Yes.
So
yes.
I trust him.
The Bills and the Chiefs also not making any moves today, which is a little surprising to me.
That is a little surprising, yeah.
But, Matt, one that is, I think,
the teams that were busy, I mean, other than the bad teams, were like Dallas and Jacksonville. Like, are you guys contenders or not?
And the Chargers, too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Let's get into that one, since it's the Steelers' upcoming opponent.
It's a minor move, but it's relevant for today.
The Chargers acquired offensive lineman Trevor Penning from the Saints amid, obviously, just that laundry list of injuries that L.A. has had to their offensive line. Mm-hmm. What do we need to know about Trevor Penning?
Yeah, as the Saints often do, they were very aggressive on draft day, 4 years ago, and they took Olave early, and then they traded up to get Penning, who's he went to Northern Iowa.
Yes.
He was a small school dude that really tested well, big, super physical. Senior Bowl was kind of a standout. Very violent / penalty prone. After the whistle, throw people down, kick them. Stuff like too much. And frankly, I never really liked him coming out of school, and joked back then that this guy is more likely to be a WWE heavyweight champion than he is Hall of Famer. He just screams WWE to me, because he's like a big 330-pound athlete.
You can see him with some
nasty,
face paint,
right,
running through the fireworks and the fire and smoke. And
it looks like he's always too caffeinated up, and But it is telling, because I'm sure they gave up nothing for him.
2027 6th-round pick,
which is the least you can give up in the whole world, basically. Because they obviously were not going to pick up his 5th-year option. They drafted, talking about the Saints, they drafted a tackle in each of the last 2 first rounds, which just screams you weren't the answer 4 years ago. So took a tackle, now I think about it, 3 out of 4 years in the first round. Obviously they weren't thrilled with him. But to me, it just screams how bad the offensive tackle and O-line situation is for the Chargers.
Yeah.
Right. So might as well go down this road now. Like the Steelers, but even in a better way, and the Saints, come to think of it, this was a team, the Chargers, that invested 2 premium picks in offensive tackles in a short amount of time.
Yes.
Slater was already there before Harbaugh was hired, but there was a year in between, unlike the Saints and Steelers. Slater, gap, Harbaugh gets there, Alt. And you're like, whoa, this is going to be awesome. And Alt's a pure left tackle, but they put him at right because Slater was entrenched at left. This offseason, they give Slater a huge deal, one of the most highly paid O-linemen in history. And then you feel terrible about it. But shortly after, he gets hurt in training camp or something,
I think
early.
It was, done
out for the year. Right after you gave him the deal.
That is a bummer.
You take Alt and you move him back to left, where he played at Notre Dame. And he looks like he's done it his whole life and is better than ever.
One of the best in the league.
Yeah, and awesome. And then he gets hurt, and they kind of fall apart without him. As you can imagine, you lost both your tackles. Then he came back a couple weeks ago, maybe even just 2 weeks ago, looked phenomenal. Offense starts to turn around. I don't think that's a coincidence. And then he gets hurt last week, and he's now out for the year. So you really have nothing at tackle. And Hart was the right tackle. I guess we'll start getting into their practice reports, and it always gets cloudy with West Coast teams, too.
Yeah.
They're always a day
behind. The time difference and everything.
Right. But Hart, the right tackle, last week they started Hart at right, Alt at left. Both got hurt, and I don't think either finished the game. Alt absolutely did not. And Hart's not very good either. I mean, he's like a petting journeyman anyway. But that was the best they had. So they might be short both those dudes. Becton, who was a tackle by trade that the Eagles turned into a high-end guard, another former first-round pick, is really good when he's out there, but he's hurt all the time too. Penning has played some guard for the Saints. So I guess they're probably looking at it like we just want big bodies with we've talked a million times how hard it is to trade for O-linemen and tackles at the deadline. I mean, sometimes you can get the former first-round pick that is a total washout, and that's exactly what he is. So if he sees the field, it just shows the state that they're in.
It shows kind of the desperate mode that they're in.
And matchups, so we do this matchup show with Missy and Rob, and we start emailing each other usually like Tuesday morning, like what are our topics for the week? And
what matchups we want to highlight.
Yeah, what are the three we're going to pick on each side of the ball? And the big thing I think I'm stressing more than ever is their tackles against the Steelers' edge guys. And I think the Steelers' tackles against their edge guys is important too. Khalil Mack, Tui Tuipulotu. I'm going to try not to pronounce that name
that was
again
impressive.
This year.
Impressive.
And who's their other edge guy that's pretty good? Oh, Owe that they traded for
Odafe
too.
Owe.
Yeah. So something to keep in mind.
We will deep dive into that plenty later on in the week.
Yes.
Matt, before we get to some more of these blockbusters, stay in the division here.
Mm-hmm.
Are you surprised we didn't see Cincinnati do anything today in the seller department, particularly, obviously, Trey Hendrickson?
Yeah, sort of, except for they're such a stubborn organization.
They are notoriously tough to deal with.
And notoriously, I bet that was the sticking point.
They make fewer trades than anybody around.
Yeah, they do. And I just noticed when I was getting coffee last time, I was just messing around on Twitter looking to see if there's any more moves. Joe Goodberry's covered the Bengals for a really long time and well-respected, and I trust him with the Bengals. He thinks they're going to franchise him after the year.
Oh.
Which to me just screams more dissension and problems.
Holdouts.
Compounding your problems.
Totally.
And, so that's probably the way they're thinking about it, and therefore they probably only would take a 1 for him. But even if I'm like the Lions, I'm not giving you a 1 for 9 games plus playoffs, and then I got to pay him on top of that at his age,
Yeah.
So I was joking on my podcast earlier today, like the Bengals to me are that team in your fantasy league where you go to the draft and everyone's drinking and having a good time, and he's thrilled with his team. Man, I can't believe I got this guy in the 5th round and I got this guy in the 7th round. My team's awesome. And then week 5, week 10, he still thinks his team's never changed. I still have the best team ever. Like nothing's ever changed. I got the best. I nailed it. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to make any moves. Well, then you lose.
Yes. Yes, you do. I am surprised by that and not surprised by that because that's just kind of the Bengals and what they do. But I thought, man, that one feels like.
Do you think they can still compete and get in the playoffs? I bet the answer is yes.
I mean,
Flacco makes them better.
Totally. After they beat the Steelers, completely fair conversation.
In a way, that might have been the worst thing for them.
Because if they would have lost to the Steelers, then they're definitely.
Then I think you make them. Yeah.
Then you're definitely looking forward to 2026.
Yeah.
They're
probably looking at it like our offense is awesome.
Our offense is one of the better ones in the league.
Right.
And
we would have given up 70 without Hendrickson.
Sure.
Right.
They're also, are they 3-5 or 3-6 now? I think they're 3-6, aren't they?
I think they're 3-6. Yeah. I don't think they've had their bye.
No, I don't think they have either.
Yeah,
they are 3-6, have not had their bye week. If you're 4-5, it's a completely different story.
Right.
3-6 as opposed to 4-5 is just a completely different story. And again, I think particularly when you look at the scope of the AFC, those wild card spots are going to be tough. There might be a 10-win team that doesn't make the playoffs.
Right, yeah, I agree.
And I don't see.
And I'm sure they're looking at, like, if we can just survive until Burrow gets back, that's great.
Yeah, but that's probably at least still another month away. And again, it's not that the offense has been the problem.
That's what I was going to say. Like,
they scored 42 points against
scoring
the Bears.
Points isn't an issue.
Can Joe Burrow play linebacker?
Right.
Can Joe Burrow rush the passer? Can Joe Burrow cover Colston Loveland down the middle of the field?
I'd rather take teams on with Burrow than Flacco, but if you're putting up 30 to 45 every week, that's not the issue.
Matt, one team who is certainly all out, all selling, all looking towards the future is the New York Jets.
Yeah.
Jets. They made a couple blockbuster type moves today.
After the ones they made, I'm kind of shocked they didn't make the easier ones. The Breece Hall type
move. Yeah.
Right.
We're going to get to that on the other side because that's going to be a beefier conversation, I think.
It's the biggest story of the day.
It's the biggest. It's the story in the NFL today, maybe the story in sports today. Let's get to that when we return on the other side, so we have plenty of time to discuss it. We'll continue to kick around all these different trade deadline deals across the National Football League. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, it's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. All right, Matt, certainly the story of the trade deadline day is the New York Jets. You talk about selling.
Yeah.
Like a fire sale for the New York Jets. Although, as you mentioned, they did retain Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. I think the two pieces that everybody thought could be on the move.
And Hall's a free agent after the year, so I think he's not going to be around in the long term.
Yes.
He publicly said he wanted traded like an hour ago.
Maybe they just couldn't find anyone who was giving them any type of a reasonable offer, and they didn't want to sell him for nothing. But
I don't understand holding on to him for at that position because that's not a long. I mean, Jermaine Johnson, I understand hold on to the ends, but
if you want to talk about teams pushing their chips to the center of the table, Matt, I think that's certainly what the Indianapolis Colts did earlier today.
Yeah, you want to start there?
Let's start there because that was the first move that came across the timeline as well too. Chronological order. Wow, the Steelers really sent the Colts into panic mode, huh? That's a funny side story for you. The Colts traded for Sauce Gardner, one of the biggest name cornerbacks in the National Football League, for 2 first-round picks. The Jets get each of the Colts' next 2 first-rounders, so 2026, 2027, and wide receiver A.D. Mitchell, who we discussed a little bit on the show last week, was kind of the odd man out.
He's not a nobody, though.
He's not a nobody.
Right.
I'd take him here. I mean...
So real quick on Mitchell, I don't want to spend too much time on him, but everyone knows I broadcast from the draft live. And when the Zach Frazier pick popped up, we always talk about like who would you take right now if you're on the clock? And everyone in the room that I was on the air with was like, oh, Frazier's there. We were holding our breath the whole time, hoping to get there.
Yes.
But then the immediate question is, because we need to talk about other stuff, is if he wasn't there, who would be your pick? And mine was A.D. Mitchell. You know what I mean? Like he's a big, very talented downfield threat that might even start for the Jets today. But he's got some knucklehead to him, too. I mean, he did in Texas, and he's the one that, like, dropped the ball going into the end zone and highly inconsistent. But if you're the Jets, I'll take a chance on him opposite Garrett Wilson, and maybe I hit. I mean, if he's a throw-in on the deal.
Heck yeah.
Because, frankly, I think 2 firsts for Sauce is too much as it is.
I think so, too.
Yeah. He's a good player.
He's a very good
player.
Very good player, but that's Micah Parsons type.
Yeah, right.
That's
2 for
Khalil Mack in his prime type trade conversation and
most
compensation.
Most of the time in history, the team getting the player gets the short end of the stick when it's all said and done. And I don't think that'll be true with Parsons, but
I think he might be the exception.
Yeah, I mean, one of them was like Jamal Adams, going to Seattle. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of them that are like, whoa, what were you thinking? Amari Cooper
thinking?
Was one of them,
Yeah.
So if I'm the Jets, I'm thrilled about it. And with all respect to the Colts, we just did power ranks. They probably won't pick 30, 31, 32. I don't think they'll pick 20. They'll probably be 26, something like that, and you get the year after that. But who knows who their quarterback is? I mean, they could easily fall back to – they're not the Bills or the Chiefs where they're going to pick in the top 5, their last 5 of every draft
Basically,
class.
yeah. For the next – as long as they have Mahomes and Josh Allen next decade.
Like, if we're doing this 1 year from today – the Colts might be 12th in the power ranks or 20th. I mean, that's not crazy. So,
sure.
That's a good team to pick up first for. This is noteworthy, and it's actually kind of true. The money matters. Like, nobody thinks about that stuff. Is Sauce worth a 2 or 2 firsts? I don't think he is. But we also discussed heavily going into Colts week that the weakest position on the Colts was corner. And they spent money there on Ward, who's been out. And they were such a vanilla cover 3 type of team years before. They want to be man coverage corner based. So this is really a great fit for what they're doing. But I do think they overspent. But why I brought up the money is the Jets signed Sauce this offseason. So all his bonus money came out of the Jets' pocket.
Yes.
So the big stuff financially, thanks New York, therefore we'll give you a little bit more, you know. So
makes sense.
You know, you can't forget about that kind of stuff.
We'll give up maybe a little more draft capital, but we won't,
because it doesn't kill our capital.
We won't be on the hook for as much compensation, financial
you just gave
compensation.
him a deal that he's really happy with. He's going to be happy for years. We don't have to worry about it for a while. You did that work for us. Thanks.
It's a big move for the Colts, man.
It's a big move for the Colts. That is push your chips in there.
That's a Barry Bonds swinging for the fences type move right there. And certainly one that we will keep an eye on, and it'll be a storyline down the stretch here. But much like Billy Mays, but wait, there's more. I had to think of the famous infomercial guy. The Jets also traded probably their biggest name on defense, Sauce Gardner, their second biggest name on defense, and Quinnen Williams.
Definitely their best two guys on defense.
To the Dallas Cowboys. Wow. As Dallas makes a big move despite losing last night on Monday Night Football, or maybe that's the reason why, the Cowboys get Quinnen Williams for this year's second-round pick, next year's first-round pick. And
I thought it was only a first straight up.
No, it's 2026 second-rounder, 2027 first-rounder, and defensive tackle Maisie Smith.
So I misspoke at one point in the show. Dallas still has 2 twos this year. They have theirs in the Packers.
Okay.
So they gave up their 2 this year.
Gotcha.
And they'd already given up their 3 to the Steelers for Pickens. But, so I'm just trying to keep track.
Yeah, just keep track.
Right.
That's right.
But they don't have a first a year from now. So maybe they're, who knows? I mean, we'll talk about this close to the draft. But if you don't have a first 2 years from now and you don't need a quarterback, maybe you're going to move back and try to pick up future first. Looks like you have something good to say.
According to Adam Schefter, the terms of that trade, the Jets in 2027, they will get from the Cowboys the higher of their 2 first-round draft picks. So whether it's theirs or Green Bay's, the Jets get whoever ends up being higher next year.
Whatever's better.
Yes.
Good for the Jets. I mean, Jets got a lot back for 2 players.
Matt, Jets draft picks for the next 2 years, next 2 drafts. 2026. They have theirs in the Colts' first-rounders. They have theirs in Dallas' second-rounders. So they got 4 picks this year in the first 2 rounds.
Probably all in the top 50.
Yes.
Yeah.
2027, 3 first-round picks right now. Theirs, Dallas's, and Indy's.
Wow.
Now, it could end up being the Packers one, how that works.
Yeah. But
they'll have a ton of cap space.
I mean, you got Williams off the books. You got Sauce off the books. You don't have that many other huge contracts anyway. So you should be able to be buyers in free agency, too.
They saved, according to Schefter here, nearly $24 million in cap space. $23.7 million.
Okay. And that's probably just off this year's cap, let alone next year's and all that stuff, too.
Whew.
Now, they don't have any good players or a quarterback, like, they might have an
O-line.
Other than that,
Mrs. Lincoln.
Right. They might have an O-line and Garrett Wilson, as building blocks. I'm going to go back to the Cowboys and come back to the Jets, though. I don't hate it for the Cowboys. That's more than I thought they gave up. I thought they gave up their first this year straight up for Williams, and it was more than that because it's a 2 and it's a 1. But he's pretty awesome, and
he's very good.
He's very good. And I don't think any of these guys are close to Micah Parsons. But Ezerique, their second-round pick from Boston College, he had a sack last night. Their edge guys aren't bad. Fowler, they've got like 3 or 4 dudes on the edge, none of whom are Parsons, but they were all quality, young, talented players. And now you put Clark next to Quinnen. They got Clark in the Micah deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay. I mean, now that's a very respectable front. And Williams is pretty awesome. So I get that. And their run defense is terrible, too. And,
yeah.
It's a lot, but
it's a lot. It is. But it's also I don't know what the Cowboys are doing. I know we say that a lot, but
I think they want to be in the news all the time.
They just
I think they value the value of the franchise and the brand.
No doubt. But
it's more above everything.
It's like they just collect football cards.
Yeah.
It's like they're not actually trying to build a team. They're just trying to collect football cards.
Let's just be relevant in the news all the time.
My goodness, how nice to be the Philadelphia Eagles in that division. It's like...
Yeah, come to think of it. Like, Washington was scary for about 5 minutes. Dallas tends to always screw it up. The Giants always screw it up.
The Giants were scary for about 5 seconds.
Yeah. But back to the Jets. Speaking of which, do we have any faith that they're going to do the right thing with these resources, though? I mean, history shows the answer is no. It's kind of like when the Browns have 1 million picks. It's
right.
like, okay. I mean, I love the approach. Like, if the Steelers ever got in that situation, which has never happened in my life.
Yeah, hopefully it won't.
I would trust, or if the Eagles ever got in that situation, if they had that many picks, it'd be like, oh, look out. But I've seen this story with the Jets and Browns with this many picks, and they never do anything with it. I mean, they don't win.
I've seen this fish before, Matt Williamson. Yeah, it's I did not.
I feel like they're going to trade them all for Johnny Manziel. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Trade them all for Arch Manning.
Yeah, exactly.
Although he's looked a little bit better the last couple weeks. We'll talk more about that.
Teaser for tomorrow.
We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. Again, if you would have told me today when we woke up, the Jets are going to trade 2 big pieces, I'd have said, oh, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson have a new home.
Yeah. I never thought Gardner would be one.
25 years old and got his contract.
Right. We just gave him a huge signing bonus.
Quinnen Williams isn't quite that young, but he's also not long in the tooth yet.
He's in his prime.
He's right in his prime. And man, though, just it's surprising. It's very surprising. And from Dallas is, again, I don't want to keep going back to Dallas, but if you look at it in the big picture of things, did they really get that much for Micah Parsons? I mean, like,
I was thinking that too.
Clark and Will, you got
2 defensive tackles, basically.
But,
so we'll just say that the future first got you Williams.
Yes,
but you had to give up Parsons in this year's 2 for Clark, Quinnen, Packers first this year, and I think I'm missing something. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Pretty close.
I wonder if I can find. I'm sure somebody out here has put together all
because they got 2 firsts in Clark. One of those firsts went for Williams.
Yes.
Future one.
Yes.
So I think I nailed it. I think you got 2 defensive tackles in Green Bay's first this year for Parsons. Now Quinnen's worth a lot. Clark's older. Quinnen's worth a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
Would you do Quinnen and a late one for Parsons, though? I don't know.
Probably not.
Right.
I would have just never moved.
I would have never moved.
I would have paid Micah Parsons months ago and never had to
in
cross.
the summer. We never even had been.
Never exactly right. Wouldn't even had that conversation. I am completely
He's
with
that
you.
Special, but I'm a big Quinnen Williams fan.
I am too, and you were very clear about that heading into the season opener.
Oh yeah. He's a top 5 defensive tackle in his prime.
Yes, he's one of those guys who is not a Aaron Donald destroyer of worlds, but is, kind of in that next tier of,
right.
Pro Bowl, All-Pro.
If we were doing
really good.
Who do you pick from the Jets before Week 1 game, he might have been my pick for the Steelers.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It would have been.
It's funny because they're one of the hardest teams because Wilson was really fun. Sauce is really fun. We weren't playing the game back then.
Before the season started, we would have been like, oh, you're good at corner.
Well, you're right. There. I probably wouldn't have.
It would have probably been
Garrett
Garrett Wilson or
but it's like
Quinnen Williams.
Rodgers and him didn't really get along great.
Yeah.
And then Membo would have been my other choice.
Membo's a great one.
Right.
Yeah.
But I probably would have went with Quinnen.
I think so too.
Imagine putting him with that D-line now.
Good Lord.
Like
good luck.
Sacks
good luck running the football.
Right.
Matt, now I don't like this. The Jets, the Browns, the Rams, and the Cowboys all have multiple first-round picks next year.
The Cowboys are the only one I think that might not be in the quarterback.
And that just depends on what happens with Dak. But the other 3 absolutely will.
Absolutely. And have way more firepower than the Steelers with their extra thirds and fourths.
Yes. Now, the Rams could be picking 29th or 30th.
But the Falcons won't be.
They will not.
Right.
No. And the Browns.
And the Rams might
Jets.
decide not to do anything about it either.
True.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? But it seems like the year to do it if you're them. Not to mention the teams that are going to be bad, like the Raiders, the Saints, that already have a top 5 pick. I mean, are they going to move out of there?
Man, life comes at you fast in the National Football League, doesn't it?
Real quick note. I could just see the Cowboys and the nature of that organization shopping Dak I don't know. I wouldn't.
But then again, though, why do you go out and acquire all these proven pieces if you're going to shop your proven quarterback?
Probably you don't then. Yeah, maybe try to bring back Pickens.
And I know some people will say, listen, you're never going to win a Super Bowl with Dak and all these things.
I don't believe that.
But, like,
I don't believe it's impossible. I'm not saying they will win a Super Bowl with Dak. They probably won't. He's probably going to play 5 more years.
Sure.
Chance of winning a Super Bowl. Slim,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
But he's good.
But you're taking a risk on someone out of college where there's no guarantees that they're even going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of head scratchers around the National Football League today.
The quarterback landscape is really interesting right now, though.
It is.
This big picture.
I tell you what, exciting day in Indianapolis. That's for sure. They
they
had a rough one on Sunday, but they're feeling much better.
Everyone's
about
feeling a lot better right now.
Suddenly
right.
today,
you might regret it 2 years from now when you don't have any picks in the first round. But I like the aggression.
I do too. For the Colts.
And I think the Jets are made a great move. We'll see what they do with the picks. If it was any, I mean,
good for the Jets.
Oh,
now,
they got
again,
a lot
you're right,
back
like,
for 2 really good players. A lot back.
Yes. It's like the Cleveland Browns trading down from the 2nd round pick last year. It's like, okay, in theory, it's smart, but what are you going to end up getting for it?
Trade number 1's great, but what do you do with the picks?
Yes. Ooh, it's going to be a lot to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, I know I've told you this before. You've met him. I think we talked about this on the show last week. But Matt Taylor, who's the voice of the Colts.
Oh, I go on with him every year. Yeah, we talk at Indy.
You go on every year at the Combine. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
And so I went to holler at him and say hello Sunday before the game, and we were talking in their broadcast booth, and he was like, "Dude, this year's been crazy." He's like, "We are trying to strike while the iron's hot." Like, he's talking to me about all these extra shows and content things that they're doing now.
They're not used to that kind of.
Because everyone's all in and focused. And I wonder if this is part of that too. Like, we never think about that in Pittsburgh. Because
owners think about this stuff.
Owners
by their owner passed away, and
it's a new. It's his daughters, but it's a new ownership group.
Right. There's change at the top.
They're like, hey, we're 7-2. We've got people's attention now. Watch this.
Yeah,
we're gonna go get Sauce Gardner, and we're really gonna have everybody
We've
all
had this attention since Peyton and Marvin, and
striking while the iron's hot. Like, that's not something that the Steelers and the Packers have to think about.
No,
but a lot of teams in the NFL do.
It's a great point.
And
you forget their businesses.
Absolutely. And we will certainly see how that plays out for the Colts here in the back half of the season. One more segment to go. Matt, you want to do a little fantasy football focus when we return on the other side?
Sure.
We
got so much, doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
Do that to shut this thing down when we return. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Final segment here on a different kind of Tuesday. It's been fun reacting to the NFL trade deadline, which has gotten seemingly more and more of a big deal every single year. And, hey, that's another one of those good for business type things for the National Football League.
They're no dummies in terms of getting eyeballs and interest on a random Tuesday in November.
I told you, the NFL doesn't have much to learn from other leagues in this country. But one thing that they learned is more teams involved in the playoff picture is good for business.
Yeah.
I think they also learned, like, hey,
trade
deadline day can be a big deal.
And it correlates to your more teams involved thing, too. I'm older than you guys, but, MLB trade deadline was a big thing. Hockey trade deadline.
NBA trade deadline.
Right. But
big
NFL
deal.
Never was until, 5 years ago.
Yep.
Maybe some random dude to get traded. Now it's like it's all we talked about for 3 weeks, let alone today.
Yeah, I do. I love it, though. Also,
it's so smart.
For us, it's best for business. It's more content. And so it's all good in that regard.
Like, it blows me away whenever our buddies here at the station asked me, 10 years ago, whatever, hey, you want to do a live show on schedule release day? And you get a week worth of content out of schedule release day. That doesn't happen in other sports.
All right, week 1, the Steelers host in San Francisco, win or loss, in the middle of May.
And 1 million people listen, it's great.
Hey, man, it is the United States of football. That is for sure. And that's not going anywhere.
And for me and you, beats covering bowling or lacrosse for a living.
It sure does. It sure does.
Yeah.
And I've had this conversation with my wife, Matt. The NFL's next frontier is Christmas.
Oh, they're going to own it.
The NBA owned.
They don't stand a chance.
The NBA owned Christmas for a decade until the NFL, they were Aqib Talib, just grabbed their chain.
Oh yeah,
right off their neck. And Christmas these next upcoming years, I think it's a Thursday this year. And then Friday, then Saturday, then Sunday.
Okay.
These next couple of years, the NFL is going to be loaded on Christmas because it's going to be
hate it. Your wife will hate it. Your
exactly
kids will
right.
hate it. Right,
exactly right. But it's what's best for business.
I know we'll get the fantasy, and if we don't, I don't even care. I mean, but I've talked so much about how the schedule to me is going to be 18 games, 2 byes.
Matter of time.
Don't be shocked if there's a random Tuesday game. There's a Wednesday game. Because if I get a lot of bye time, you can squeeze those in. That'll be the next test. More overseas. Like money. People watch.
I wouldn't hate that.
I wouldn't either, except I like Tuesday and Wednesday to watch CSI with my wife or whatever.
Watch The Bear.
Right.
Watch Game of Thrones or whatever TV show what TV show are you sinking your teeth into now, Matt Williamson?
I'm
I know
a
you
little
always got
short at the moment.
Are you?
But we started Black Rabbit last night
I've heard
before
that's-
kickoff. Yeah.
That's next on my Netflix
Okay.
list. I'm finishing up Wednesday, which is the Addams Family show.
She watched that without me and liked it. I think people. There's
loved-
some things that we watch
I
on our
loved
own,
the first
and there's
season,
something we watch
liked
together.
the second season.
Okay. I've heard good things.
It's good though.
But no, we started Black Rabbit last night at like 7:00 before an 8:00 kickoff, and let's
Watched
get a
an
show
episode.
in real quick.
All my buddies.
I'm intrigued. By
all my buddies have told me I've got to watch that. But I would sign up for the random Tuesday or Wednesday game more than I would for more holiday games. We've had that conversation before, but hey, that ain't my decision to make. Unfortunately, that's way above my pay grade.
But to your bottom line of the conversation is this stuff's not slowing down, folks.
No, it is not.
No.
Nothing slows down this train. Walter White, Breaking Bad.
There you go.
Matt, let's do a little fantasy football conversation before we get up out of here.
Talk about some waiver wire guys?
We're going to talk about some waiver wire guys. Excuse me. And number one has to be still only owned in 52% of leagues, Sam Darnold.
That's nuts.
I picked him up 2 weeks ago, Matt. I started him this past week. Profit.
Oh, yeah. Right. I mean, there's always so many examples every year of why you don't go for Allen or one of these guys really high in your draft. But you can pick up dudes like this.
Sam Darnold, Joe Flacco, J.J. McCarthy.
Right. Yeah, they're fine. I mean, Darnold to me is an every week starter.
He is.
Those other guys are
absolutely for me now.
Yeah.
So I started in this league. I started with Justin Fields and Bo Nix.
You're probably pretty happy about.
Feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a couple okay weeks out of Bo Nix lately.
Mm-hmm.
But this week, going against that Houston defense, I was like, I picked up Sam Darnold last week, looking ahead.
Good move.
And
okay.
I'm glad I did, especially now, because I got to imagine he won't be eligible for this list probably starting next week.
No. I mean, he doesn't run a ton, but that's obviously huge for a quarterback. But he's not a stiff either.
I mean, he's throwing 3 or 4 touchdowns a game.
Hey, might win the MVP.
It's crazy. Other than Sam, any other of those like Joe Flacco, J.J. McCarthy, Marcus Mariota, any of those names? Flacco, maybe?
What's Mariota do for you? Because he does run.
Mariota's an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't think he's particularly good, but he's been better in Washington than he was his last couple stops. I mentioned it earlier in the show. I think their defense is quite bad, and they'll be in a lot of shootouts, and he runs. Flacco's also proven that, I mean,
if you need somebody in a pinch, you can do much worse than Flacco.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to run ever, but so
no,
what?
but
Yeah, right.
He's going to chuck that thing, baby.
Yeah, they're not going to run the ball and grind out 17, 16 wins in Cincinnati.
No, absolutely not. Running backs here, Matt. Kyle, the guy whose last name I always struggle to pronounce from the Bears. Manungai. Owned in 57% of leagues. I'm actually surprised he's not over 60%.
Yeah.
Devin Singletary, Isaiah Davis, Tank Bigsby.
I bet Davis is on that list with the hopes that Hall got traded.
I was thinking.
I mean, he's the backup, and who knows how much they run Hall into the ground now too. And Hall might make some business decisions.
He might. I was just gonna say he might be kind of checked out on the rest of the year, and it would be hard not to blame
they should all probably be in leagues. Manungai, to me, they want to run the ball with a two-headed monster like the Lions. But Swift was out. They played the Bengals. Like, if you have him, I might shop him. It's probably the best game he's ever had. He had like 170 rushing yards or something.
Against that defense.
Yeah.
Wide receivers here. Alec Pierce, Trey Tucker's an interesting one now.
Yeah.
Because
they both should be in leagues.
That offense showed a little sign of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of it centered around Brock Bowers, but
right.
I think still, like,
When this was written, they were probably hoping Myers got traded, and he did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trey Tucker's an interesting one from Vegas, and then Alec Pierce, obviously. Tez Johnson on here as well, too, from the Bucks.
I don't know what their receiver
They're starting to get a little bit healthier, though, although Mike Evans won't be back.
He won't be back. I'm wondering what Godwin's situation is post-bye. It's hard to get in it.
Tez Johnson's one, I think, worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah. Pierce should be in every league.
I think so, too.
Yeah. He's a little hit or miss, but I mean...
He's only rostered in 38% right now.
Okay.
But I think so.
I think he's good.
I think
on
so,
a good
too.
offense, yeah.
On a good offense,
yeah.
Particularly. Tight ends, Matt. Colson Loveland's got to lead the way here, right? Just 28% rostered going into this past week.
After this past week, I think it's I am a believer in a lot of these rookies getting a bump later in the season after they kind of get their feet under them, and maybe he qualifies. I mean, he's had a really good game, but yeah.
How do you feel about Mason Taylor? Because I know you like the player, but is there any fantasy value in there now with the Jets kind of abandoning ship?
So in my main league, I used a high pick on Kittle, who got hurt in week 1, and I didn't draft any other tight ends because I was like, I'm always going to start Kittle. I'll just pick someone off the waiver wire for his bye week.
Sure.
Not knowing he was going to get hurt.
Sure.
In the second quarter of the season. And then I had like Chigakwonkwo for a week or two. I'm like, this stinks. And so I picked up Taylor and kind of fell in love with him a little bit. I mean, I'm more of a player than as a fantasy player. But he gets a high percentage of, the dorky Matt Stats stuff I do. Route share and target share.
That stuff really matters for fantasy football.
And that's where I get most of it from, is from fantasy sites. Red zone targets. He's second leading receiver on the team.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's Wilson and then him, and Wilson's been out. So they're going to be losing a lot. I think people can shy away in fantasy too much from, but this team stinks and they don't have a quarterback. But I'm like, but all the garbage time he's going to get against prevent defenses, if he's the second leading target getter on the Jets, he's worth being on your team.
Target share, man.
I mean, that kind of stuff matters, right?
They're just looking for lottery tickets, as many of them as you can get.
And obviously the Jets are in a youth movement. He was their second-round pick. They're going to play him all the time.
Totally.
And he's a good football player.
He is. I think he's one of the more underrated tight ends just because he's on a team that is so bad and nobody ever watches.
I loved him coming out of LSU. I mean,
you did. Yeah, you talked about him a lot.
Yeah, Daddy's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's got a lot going for him.
Final piece of breaking news here a little bit, Matt, before we call it a day. According to Ian Rappaport, the Cardinals are naming Jacoby Brissett their starting quarterback.
It shocks me because I bet ownership doesn't feel good about that. Just because all the money they gave Kyler.
Totally.
A little blurb I saw since then was they're in getting for more reports on his foot, which could just mean like, why don't
a convenient excuse to not throw him to the wolves.
But if he doesn't move well at his size and his skills, he's not much use to you anyways.
No.
But I said last night and I said this morning on different shows, they're better with Brissett. And they're coming off a win. And
I think that's undeniable at this point.
I've always been a Brissett guy, too. Like,
you have been.
He's my favorite. Batch Gradkowski, long-term backup, tough guy. People love him,
Played in a lot of different systems and had success doing it. No, hey, if that's what the guys on the team are calling for right now, too, if Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., that's their guy. They
know.
They absolutely know.
Now, this doesn't mean Kyler's career with the Cardinals is over, but it's a bit of an inkling.
It certainly could be the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Certainly could be the beginning of the end.
But much like the Steelers, let's say you're the Cardinals and you're in the quarterback market and you end up with the 17th pick and you don't have another first. You may not have the option to get to 6 or bid the Rams for a guy.
Totally.
Or, right. You could be in this it's real easy to say, I will get a guy next year. Well, More on that tomorrow.
More on that tomorrow. We will have a beefy around campus segment tomorrow as I think some things about this 2026 college quarterback NFL draft class are starting to become more clear and clear. Clearer and clearer?
Yeah.
Crystal clear? Whatever. Something along those lines. A couple names that we need to subtract from that list, a couple names we need to add to that list. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll talk to Chris Halleck. We'll start to look ahead to the Chargers a little bit.
It was a weird day for guests for us because everyone's kind of
crunching the deadline, which we understand.
They've
got their jobs to do as well too, but we will get back to some of our guests tomorrow. Also, Matt, fun tease for you for tomorrow. I was thinking about what to do for the Best of the West this week. We're going to SoFi Stadium this weekend. For my money, my favorite stadium in the National Football League.
That's funny you say that.
On the Best of the West tomorrow, I will tell you my top 10 favorite stadiums I've ever been to.
Very cool.
How about that?
So we were just talking about like TV with the wife and all that. And my wife's usually like on the couch next to me whenever Monday Night Football comes on or whatever. And the only stadium I ever be like, check this stadium out is that one. I'm like, this looks so cool. And she's like, that looks awesome.
It's
she
incredible.
Care all about football. Yeah, right.
It's incredible. I had some time to kill today, so I actually put my list together already. And I'm
interested.
It's very high on the list.
You've been to way more than I have.
There's a one or two college football stadiums on that list too.
Oh, nice.
Is
WVU on there?
No.
Okay. I was like,
come on.
Right.
Come on.
If they're one, we got.
I also made a clause that there couldn't be any Pittsburgh. So like PNC Park's not on the list. As much as I love PNC
You're
Park.
Doing all sports?
Anything that I've been to.
Wow. Okay.
Spoiler alert for you. There's a European soccer stadium on the list as well, too.
Okay, so you're not picking from 32 NFL teams.
It's mostly NFL stadiums because that's the most of what I've been to. But there's one or two college stadiums on there. There's one or two other random things on there. It'll be a fun conversation tomorrow.
I like it.
We'll do all of that and more on a Wednesday. Thanks to our guy, Mr. TV, Tyler V., our video producer, and our resident statistician for making us look handsome on YouTube and keeping us in line. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. You've been listening to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. It's Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.